I decided to make myself a necklace. You know those little necklaces, those nameplate necklaces that say hashtag I'm awesome? I made my own, and my necklace says, shh, I'm reading. Hi friends, it's Gwen. Today I'm coming to you with my top 10 tips for finding more time to read and reading a little bit more. Tip number 1, always have more books on hand than you can read. This also encourages you to read more. You'll always have something that you're in the mood for, and I know most booktubers out there do not have this problem, so it should be quite an easy tip to follow. Tip number 2, read more than one book at a time. So if you have extra books on hand, try to read 2 books at once. A perfect example would be if you're reading My True Love Gave to Me, which is 12 holiday short stories. Read one of those a day and also be reading another book. That way, take a little break from that, read that. Like maybe read one in the daytime and one at nighttime, or read one story and then read your other book. I just think it helps change it up. I find it difficult when it's a very in-depth world or there's a lot of deep character development. When I'm really into a story, I really do just usually like to stick to one book. But if you're reading a book of poetry, or if you're reading like a short stories, another short story one would be Let It Snow by John Green. And the 2 other authors. I feel like if you read short stories and read a book, or if you read poetry and read a book, or maybe listen to an audiobook and read a book. Tip number 3, ignore thoughts about what you should be reading. I know we all have that voice in the back of our head that says, I should be reading more adult books, but I enjoy YA. So guess what? I'm going to read YA because that's what I like, and I read enough adult books for school. So instead of listening to that little voice in the back of my head that tells me that, which I kind of do plan to read more adult books for 2015, but instead of listening to that little voice, read books you want to read. It's more fun, you'll find yourself reading faster, and it's supposed to be fun after all. Tip number 4, buy audio versions of books. While this doesn't personally work for me because I usually don't drive very far except for during the holiday season, and I think I've talked about this before. I'm not a huge audiobook person just because I get so in depth in the story and then I have to stop, and then it's just not good, or I can't concentrate enough because I'm driving, and I'm that person that will read a paragraph 6 times before I move to the next one. That's probably why I'm a slow reader as well. Tip number 5, carry your book with you wherever you go. And this could not be more true. I just tweeted this the other day that I was so frustrated that I had an extra 5 minutes and didn't have my book with me. When I drive to school, if I get there early, it's so great to be able to crack open my book and read a couple of pages or finish out the chapter that I didn't finish the night before, and then start my day. So I really enjoy having my book with me wherever I go. If I go to school, I take it with me, and I usually leave it in my car because my book bag is like totally full and I don't want it to get all like bent up. But I leave it in my car, and I leave it on my bedside table because I read at night. But if I'm on the computer and I'm waiting for a video to upload, I read my book. If I go to an appointment, I take my book with me. If pretty much anywhere I go, I'm not a good reader in a moving vehicle, but if I go somewhere and I get there early, then I'll just stay in my car and read a couple of extra pages. So just take it with you wherever you go. If you have appointments, or if you're, I don't know, just take it with you wherever you go. And you'll just get a couple of extra pages in, and yeah, it'll help you read a couple of more extra pages. Tip number 6. Read short stories. Again, short stories are a great way to either read the short stories and read another book at the same time, or just read a ton of short stories, because they're great little snippets that you can wake up, read a short story, go to work, come home, read a short story, make dinner, you know, do your nightly thing, and then read a short story before bed. And then you've read 3 short stories. How amazing is that? Tip number 7, join a book club or stay involved in the BookTube community. Obviously, if you're making videos and if you're watching this, you're involved in the BookTube community. Even if you don't make videos, if you're watching videos that booktubers make, I consider that being involved, because you're finding out books that they're reading, and it might be like, hey, that sounds interesting and I want to read that too. If you join a book club, they may do like a monthly thing where they choose a book, or they might choose an author for the month. And yeah, you can check book clubs out on Goodreads, on BookTube, on at your local library, or online, the Oprah Book Club. I mean, there's tons of book clubs for you to join or get involved with, and you don't even have to join them. Just see what books they're reading, and yeah. Tip number 8, and that is read each night before bed. And that is probably when I get 90% of my reading done. I will go to bed a little bit early before I get actually too tired. And even when I am too tired, there's only like a few nights that I am just like whooped that I don't read. But every night I try to read at least a few pages. Usually I try to read a chapter or a short story. So if you read a little bit each night before bed, then you'll definitely be adding more pages. Tip number 9. Read in the bathroom. Now, while some of you may think it's disgusting to read while you're going to the bathroom, you don't have to read while you're on the toilet. Take a bath instead of a shower. I personally prefer baths just for that reason. I watch YouTube videos in the bathtub. I read books in the bathtub. I catch up on schoolwork in the bathtub. All of that. But one of my favorite things to do, of course, is read in the bathtub, because I soak and I relax and I have my Epsom salt going, and I'm able to read another chapter of my book. So try it out. Tip number 10. Last tip. Read reviews. That's it. I feel like if you have good material to read, then yeah, you'll read the book faster if it's something that you're interested in, and if it's something that was good, I think you'll read it faster. Don't take every single review you read for its word. A lot of people just rate books like whatever, but if you actually read the in-depth reviews, if there's something about an author that they write about, like the plot was just not there, and that's one of your favorite parts of a book is the plot, then don't get that book. If they're like, oh, the character development was lacking, don't buy that book, or don't pick up that book. Pick up books that interest you and that the synopsis seems good, the writing style seems good or different or exciting to you. And also, you don't have to rely on Goodreads. Like, don't rely on a star rating. I say find book blogs that you can go to that talk a little bit more in depth about, like, past the synopsis and past the, you know, literary things of a book. They talk more about maybe what was good and what was bad, and then you can judge. So check out people's blogs that they write. A lot of people that are on BookTube and do blog leave their blog down in the description box. Like myself, my blog is not just for books, but I do occasionally write book reviews, and my blog is always linked in the description box. There are several other channels out there that have theirs linked as well, so always check that out, because you know these are from people that read a lot. And also, if you find a booktuber that you have watched several of their videos and you find yourself liking books, or you have enjoyed books that they've talked about, or you know they've liked a book and then you bought it and you liked it, I always go back to their channel to see what they're reading next and kind of, you know, see if our reading styles are alike. So if you find a booktuber that your reading styles are similar, see what they're reading, you know, write a comment and say, hey, what are you reading? And, you know, like I said, just be involved in the community and do your best to read more. those are my top 10 tips to find time to read and read a little bit more this year or next year. And yeah, or you could just make a big, huge sign that says, "Shh, I'm reading," and wear it around your neck or prop it on your bookshelf. Yeah. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.